Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest TV Translator Association.
If you have a news topic or event you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show runs Wednesday at noon and is uploaded to our YouTube channel and our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page to watch on demand. Today is August 29th, 2018. And now the news at noon.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, the victim of a fatal crash involving multiple vehicles Monday near the base of Wolf Creek Pass was identified Tuesday as Joseph Leo Guarino, age 63, of Elephant Butte, New Mexico, according to the Mineral County coroner. Guarino was driving a 1993 Champion motorhome westbound down the pass when he failed to stop for traffic slowing down or stopped in a construction zone, said Trooper Josh Lewis with the Colorado State Patrol. The motorhome, which was pulling a trailer, rear-ended a 2015 Ford pickup that was also pulling a trailer and then hit a 2018 Hyundai, Lewis said. The vehicles also struck a dump truck and a water tanker parked on the side of the road as part of the construction site, said Trooper Jeff. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Drugs and alcohol are not believed to be involved, but speed may have been a factor, he said. The crash occurred about 4:30 p.m. near mile marker 158 on U.S. Highway 160. The pass remained closed until about 8:15 p.m., Lewis said. The driver of the Hyundai, Mark Montignon, of age 53, and his passenger Valerie de Beaumont, age 57, both of France, suffered moderate injuries and were taken to a hospital in Pagosa Springs, Lewis said.
Reported in the Journal, Jim Imiaga, photo credit. More than 3,000 marijuana plants were seized Tuesday morning at several properties in Montezuma County. That according to federal and local law enforcement officials. The raids were the result of a 2-year investigation and involved the Drug Enforcement Agency, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, the Montezuma County Sheriff's Office, the Cortez Police Department, Colorado State Patrol, and Homeland Security investigations, according to officials. An estimated $100,000 to $200,000 in cash and up to an estimated 4,500 plants were reportedly seized. The raids began at 6 a.m. and involved large outdoor growing operations, including a nearly 5-acre plot, Sheriff Steve Nowlin said. In a joint press release Friday evening that included Nowlin and Cortez Police Chief Roy Lane, District Attorney Will First of the 22nd Judicial District stated that law enforcement officers executed 6 federal search warrants on properties in Montezuma County. Quote, while specific numbers are not yet available, First said the searches have yielded approximately 3,000 marijuana plants, hundreds of pounds of processed marijuana, and over $100,000 in cash. First said 7 people were arrested on state charges and at least 2 others will face federal prosecution. He said allegations of large-scale marijuana cultivation and interstate distribution led to the multi-agency action. At one location, 14293 County Road 22, near Luis Ariola Cemetery, the seized marijuana filled at least 2 large dumpsters and had grown 1 to 5 feet tall, Nowlin said. Investigators were tipped off about the grow operator by neighbors who complained about smelling marijuana, the detective said. A larger raid reportedly took place on County Road V, and additional raids were reported in Cortez on County Road K.3, said Nowlin, who was at the Road V property. Steve Knight, resident agent in charge of the DEA office in Grand Junction, declined to comment about the number of suspects and indicated that earlier on Tuesday that it was possible that they had not found all of the suspects. The raids were believed to be connected to a seizure of about 2,400 marijuana plants in Rifle in 2016. Subsequent raids in that investigation were conducted near Grand Junction in 2017 and in Denver this year, resulting in the confiscation of more than 12,000 plants, he said. The raids were believed to be connected to a Chinese or Chinese-speaking ring, Knight and Nolan said. Authorities reported that 14 Chinese nationals were arrested in the Rifle area operation in 2016, but none were charged, according to the Daily Sentinel of Grand Junction. Then District Attorney Sherry Calioia of the 9th Judicial District cited difficulties including not knowing what roles many of the suspects played and the concern that some of them might have been trafficked workers, not working there entirely by choice. The story will continue to be updated as information becomes available.
Reported by the Durango Herald, residents in the Gem Village area and west along the U.S. Highway 160 corridor received a reverse 911 call Tuesday warning them of a fugitive on the loose. The message, sent at 2:58 p.m., told residents this is a message from the La Plata County Sheriff's Office A wanted male suspect is at large in the area. Please shelter in place, lock all vehicle doors, and don't let anyone into your residence. The male subject is described as Hispanic with multiple tattoos on his hands and legs, unknown clothing description. A second message was sent about 7:30 p.m. advising residents the suspect had been captured. He was apparently caught in the 39,000 block of U.S. Highway 160 in the Gem Village area. La Plata County Sheriff Sean Smith said the call started with a report of a suspicious vehicle near a gas pad in the Gem Village area. When deputies responded, the man fled the area, and it was later learned the vehicle had been stolen during a carjacking in New Mexico. The suspect was caught at 7:28 p.m. when a resident reported a man with a suspicious story approached him on his driveway, Smith said.
Reported in the Durango Herald, photo courtesy Upper Pine Fire Facebook page. A man experiencing medical complications, possibly high-altitude sickness, was rescued by helicopter Monday evening near Lemon Reservoir. The outfitter set up camp in the Young's Canyon area on the west side of Lemon Reservoir and was feeling dizzy and nauseous and didn't feel like he could make it out, said Bruce Evans, chief of the Upper Pine River Fire Protection District. Authorities were alerted of his condition at 2:14 p.m. About 15 search and rescue members, as well as members with Upper Pine, responded with horses and a Flight for Life helicopter. The man, who was not identified, was helped down a mountain with switchback trails to a landing zone north of the reservoir, where the helicopter picked him up and took him to Mercy Regional Medical Center, Evans said. Hunters need to be aware of the need to acclimatize with elevations before exerting themselves, the department wrote on its Facebook page. The man was evacuated from the area about 6:30 p.m.
According to the Durango Herald, marijuana's main mind-altering ingredient was detected in nursing mothers' breast milk in a study that comes amid evidence that more U.S. women are using pot during pregnancy and afterwards. Experts say the ingredient THC has chemical properties that could allow it to disrupt the brain development and potentially cause harm, although solid evidence of that is lacking. The new study involved 50 nursing mothers who were using pot and provided breast milk samples to researchers at the University of California, San Diego. Lab testing found small amounts of THC, the psychoactive chemical that causes marijuana's high, in 34 of 54 samples, up to 6 days after they were provided. Another form of THC and cannabidiol, a pot chemical touted by some as a health aid, were detected in 5 samples. The study authors said it is reasonable to speculate that exposing infants to THC or cannabidiol could influence normal brain development, depending on dose and timing. The results echo findings in case reports from years ago when pot was less potent than what's available today, said study co-author Christina Chambers, a pediatrics professor. It's not known if the amounts detected pose any risk, but she said her research team is studying children whose moms were involved to try to answer that question. And now let's take a look at the weather.
Let's look at that national weather map from NOAA. The western U.S. remains mostly under a high-pressure system, keeping things dry all the way down to Texas and up across the upper Midwest, with the back end of the rain and thunderstorms stretching from Kansas all across the east, just short of the coastline. The severe rain watch is positioned just on the northernmost parts of New England. So the regional outlook, the high-pressure oriented east-west and extending from Southern California to the Southern Plains, will keep subtropical moisture out of the area through the next 36 hours. As a result, dry west-southwest winds will continue across the area today, with sunny or mostly sunny skies prevalent. It will remain breezy. However, the higher gusts that were expected are no longer in the forecast. Overnight lows will be near seasonal norms tonight, as clear or mostly clear skies promise cooling. Winds are expected to pick up Thursday afternoon from a pattern over the Pacific Northwest. Expect most areas will continue to be dry outside of the San Juan Mountains, and even there, precipitation is not a given. A broad area of high pressure remains across the southwest tier of states, centered over New Mexico and Texas, through at least the end of the week. Longer-term outlook for our region looks like beyond the weekend. High pressure tries to rebuild out east, with a trough of low pressure moving into the west, drawing moisture in from the south by next Tuesday, but that's a little too far out to determine if we really are looking at some rain for next week. So the DCTV 5-day repetitive outlook is showing similar patterns for the week into Labor Day weekend. Today, sunny with a high near 82. West winds 5 to 15 miles an hour, becoming south in the morning. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 55. Southwest winds 5 to 15 miles an hour, becoming east after midnight. Thursday, again, mostly sunny with a high near 84. East-southeast winds 5 to 15 miles an hour, becoming southwest in the afternoon. Thursday night, partly cloudy with a low around 56. South-southeast winds 5 to 15 miles an hour. Friday, partly to mostly sunny with a high near 84. Southwest winds 5 to 15 miles an hour. Friday night, partly cloudy with a low around 54. And the weekend is looking to be much of the same. Nice weather. Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 83. Saturday night, partly cloudy with a low around 55. Sunday, partly to mostly sunny with a high near 82. Sunday night, partly cloudy with a low around 55. And Labor Day, Monday, again, mostly sunny with a high near 82. Monday night, partly cloudy with a low around 55. And now, back to the news.
Reported by the Durango Herald, taking a low-dose aspirin every day has long been known to cut the chances of another heart attack, stroke, or other heart problem in people who already have had one. But the risks aren't worth it for most folks, major new research finds. Although it's been used for more than a century, aspirin's value in many situations is still unclear. The latest studies are some of the largest and longest to test this pennies-a-day blood thinner in people who don't yet have heart disease or a blood vessel-related problem. One found that aspirin did not help prevent first strokes or heart attacks in people at moderate risk for one because they had several health threats such as smoking, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol. Another tested aspirin in people with diabetes who are more likely to develop or die from heart problems and found that the modest benefit it gave was offset by a greater risk of serious bleeding. Aspirin did not help prevent cancer as had been hoped. And fish oil supplements, also tested in the study of people with diabetes, failed to help. A Boston-led study gave aspirin or dummy pills to 12,546 people who were thought to have a moderate risk of suffering a heart attack or stroke within a decade because of other health issues. After 5 years, 4% of each group had suffered a heart problem, far fewer than expected, suggesting these people were actually at low risk, not moderate. Other medicines they were taking to lower blood pressure and cholesterol may have cut their heart risk so much that aspirin had little chance of helping more, said the study leader, Dr. J. Michael Gaziano of Brigham and Women's Hospital. 1% of aspirin takers had stomach or intestinal bleeding, mostly mild. Twice as many had those on dummy pills. Aspirin users also had more nosebleeds, indigestion, reflux, or belly pain.
Durango Herald reported, with photos by Jerry McBride, the dollar amount of damage from floods and debris flows caused by a week-long storm system in La Plata County and across the state, about $4.3 million, fell well short of the $7.3 million the state was looking for to trigger a request for aid from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA. While Governor John Hickenlooper will not pursue a major disaster declaration from FEMA for damage from storms from July 23rd to July 30th, La Plata County officials heard other options for help are open. Various other state and federal agencies could provide recovery assistance, state officials said at a meeting last Wednesday with the county. The governor is not going to make the request for FEMA aid, and frankly, that's okay, said Mike Willis, director of Colorado Office of Emergency Management. It allows us to go down different paths for recovery. FEMA is not the only route. The state can create a long-term recovery group to help local governments and communities plan for recovery. The long-term recovery groups also help seek other state and federal grants that might be available to pay for recovery work outside of FEMA. La Plata County Manager Joanne Spina told state officials that ideally the state could help the county fund some immediate needs to deal with the 416 fire and flooding danger around the burn scar. Immediate needs include more rain gauges to put in the burn area to provide more accurate alerts about flooding dangers. In addition, rain gauges that monitor temperature would help predict flooding danger during spring runoff. Other immediate needs would include funding to keep radar in place over the burn area beyond September, again to better predict likely flooding from rainstorms. Also, aid in finding financial resources will be needed to meet local matching requirements for many federal and state grants that might be available. Willis said state aid is a possibility. Before the state commits to providing financial assistance, La Plata County will hold a public meeting from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Thursday with more than 100 people whose property sustained damage in flooding after the fire to provide information about one form of federal assistance available to help pay for recovery efforts, the Emergency Watershed Protection Program offered through the Natural Resource Conservation Service. The program offers 75% of the funding to pay for mitigation projects identified by the NRCS to deal with debris flows causing damage from the floods. However, property owners would have to come up with 25% of the funding for the projects. The meeting Thursday will provide a review of the Watershed Protection Program, discuss public safety issues, and coordinate assistance that might be available to neighborhoods in 5 different drainages vulnerable to flooding. The meeting will also gauge how many property owners might be interested in participating in the program in light of the requirement that they provide 25% of the funding.
According to the Durango Herald, parents lament their teenagers' noses constantly in their phones, but they might want to take stock of their own screen time habits. A study out Wednesday from the Pew Research Center found that 2/3 of parents are concerned about the amount of time their teenage children spend in front of screens, while more than 1/3 expressed concern about their own screen time. Meanwhile, more than half of teens said they often or sometimes find their parents or caregivers to be distracted when the teens are trying to have a conversation with them. The study calls teens' relationship with their phones at times hyperconnected and notes that nearly 3/4 check messages or notifications as soon as they wake up. Parents do the same, but at a lower rate, lower if still substantial rate, 57%. Big tech companies face a growing backlash against the addictive nature of their gadgets and apps, the endless notifications, and other features created to keep people tethered to their screens. Many teens are trying to do something about it. 52% said they have cut back on their screen time they spend on their phones, and 57% did the same with social media. Experts say parents have a big role in their kids' screen habits, and setting a good example is a big part of it. The studies surveyed 743 U.S. teens and 1,058 U.S. parents of teens from March 7th to April 10th. The margin of error is 4.5 percentage points.
Reported in the Durango Herald with a courtesy photo, Otzi, or OTZI, the 5,300-year-old Tyrolean iceman and the world's oldest tattoos. That's the name of the topic that the second annual John W. Sanders Lecture by Aaron Dieterwolf, a prehistory archaeologist, will present on September 15th. Scientists have studied Otzi, the ice mummy, for nearly 3 decades, since he was recovered from an alpine glacier in 1991. Studies have examined the tools he carried, the clothes he wore, his health conditions, the ingredients of his last meal, deciphered his complete genome, and identified the bacteria that inhabited his gastrointestinal tract. Analysis has also shown that Otzi's body was adorned with at least 61 tattoos. The oldest preserved example of tattoos known, Janice C. Scheftel of the San Juan Basin Archaeological Society said in a news release. Dieter Wolf of the Tennessee Division of Archaeology has studied the archaeological evidence for tattooing for the past decade. He is co-editor of the new volume, Ancient Ink, The Archaeology of Tattooing, has written multiple book chapters and articles about tattoo archaeology, and in 2016 appeared in a Nova documentary discussing Otzi's tattoos. On September 15th, Dieter Wolf will discuss Otzi's life, death, and discovery, and what 5,300-year-old tattoos might say about human behavior and the ancient world, Scheftel said. The lecture, sponsored by the San Juan Basin Archaeological Society and Fort Lewis College, will be in the FLC Student Union Ballroom at 7 p.m. September 15th, with a reception at 6:30 p.m. Tickets are $10 plus fees at the Durango Welcome Center, 802 Main Avenue. You can call by phone 247-7657 or go online to durangoconcerts.com. Remaining tickets will be available for $13 at the door, starting at 6 p.m. Half of the proceeds will support the SJBAS Internship and Education Fund, which provides 2 FLC student internships at Center of Southwest Studies and summer FLC Archaeology Field School scholarships each year. Books will be for sale, payable by cash or check. Dieter Wolf also will take part in a free panel discussion with Jesse Toon of the FLC Department of Anthropology and other faculty about, quote, frauds, myths, and mysteries in archaeology. That's at 7 p.m. September 17th in room 130 of FLC Noble Hall. The discussion will include fringe theories surrounding notions of giants, aliens, and pyramids. They might even bring up Genesis 6.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of August 20th through the 26th. Shooting of high-powered rifles was reported and an officer responded. A vehicle accident was reported and an officer responded to the accident and found no personal injuries. Smoke was reported near House Creek. Durango Interagency Dispatch was contacted and took over the case. A call was received of possible problems with an oil dump in Disappointment. San Miguel County Sheriff's Office was contacted and took over the case. Harassing text messages was reported and an officer is investigating the case. A suspicious vehicle was reported on a county road and an officer responded and everything was okay. Several fires were reported in the Egner area. The Dove Creek Fire Department was paged out to assist as requested by San Miguel County Sheriff's Office. That concludes today's roundup. Stay tuned for continued updates.
Today's High Canyon Country happenings. KSJD and the Sunflower Theater present Science on Tap, Thursday, August 30th at 7 p.m. The doors open at 6:30. It's $10 per person. Tucker Robinson, owner and head brewer of Wild Edge Brewing Collective, will bring his love of the art and science that goes into crafting Wild Edge brews to the Sunflower Theater, along with samples of some of his beers. This presentation will focus on the process of creating his signature sour and hoppy beers and how his beers fit in with the greater vision of our community. He will also be available to answer some questions folks might have about beer history, the production of beer, beer styles, etc. Tucker will then host a tour of the brewing facilities at Wild Edge's headquarters just up a block from the theater. September 1st, 2nd, and 8th will be the 15th year of the Moab, Utah Artists Studio Tour. 12 artists at 9 locations open their studios to the public in Moab and Castle Valley. It's 3 days and 2 weekends. Paintings, photography, ceramics, jewelry, collage art, demonstrations, and more. Maps and more information are available online at moabstudiotour.com and in the local papers. Admission is free, and much thanks to the Moab Music Festival and the Moab Arts Council for that. Saturday, September 1st, EAA Chapter 1606 is hosting an EAA Young Eagles Rally, ages 8 to 17, with parent or guardian signature on a first-come, first-served basis. It will run from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Monticello, Utah Airport. EAA student membership includes free access to the Sporties Learn to Fly course, which is a $199 value, free admission to 300+ science and technology museums, free Academy of Model Aeronautics student membership, free electronic copy of EAA Sport Aviation, free first flight lesson, a $130 value, and access to valuable flight training awards, education scholarships, and Air Academy camperships. All of the happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the YouTube replays, weather, original stories, and local posts. To share your event or information, give us a call. It's 970-677-4119 or email us dcbnnews@gmail.com.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs at noon Monday through Thursday and then is available online on our YouTube channel and our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page on demand.
Be sure to like us there on Facebook and join in on the news of our area. And of course, please share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook with DCTV and the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.